What's up, guys? It's time for me to make my 2024 NFL draft predictions. Let's dive into it. So, with the first pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, QB, out of USC. Folks, Caleb Williams is being compared to generational prospects. That's what he's being viewed as. And I think a realistic expectation for Caleb in his rookie year is to win 9 games with this roster. Although the Chicago Bears have the number 1 overall pick in the draft, they weren't the worst team in the NFL last year. They were able to win 7 games with Justin Fields under center. Ryan Poles and that organization decided to move off Justin because they believe that Caleb Williams is going to be a massive upgrade in the future. And he has a tremendous amount of talent to throw the ball to. You got DJ Moore. They just traded for Keenan Allen. You have DeAndre Swift, who you signed. Cole Kmet is a serviceable tight end. Caleb Williams has got to be able to get the job done as a rookie. It will be very interesting to see, given the division that they're in. The Lions are going to be a factor. The Packers are going to be a factor. Who knows what Minnesota will do with the QB position? But the Chicago Bears will be fun to watch with Caleb Williams under center. With the second pick in the draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, QB out of LSU. Folks, this guy is the quickest processor in this draft class. He's a dual threat, and on top of that, he had the best season in all of college football last year at the quarterback position, Heisman Trophy winner. Jaden Daniels, in my eyes, should be, without a doubt, the number 2 overall pick. The only thing that could potentially hold this up is the report that Jaden Daniels' agent wasn't pleased that the Commanders had all these QB prospects in the building at once, and that Jaden wanted a more formal introduction. That being said, enough with the nonsense. Jaden Daniels going to, the Commanders are taking him. At 3, this is where the draft gets interesting, because New England could trade down. They could take a quarterback, and I think that's what they'll do. They will take a quarterback with the 3rd overall pick. I hope it's Drake May. Nothing against J.J. McCarthy, but as a Patriots fan, we've seen this movie before, where a national champion winning quarterback goes to New England. He doesn't necessarily have the highest ceiling. There are some comparisons to Tom Brady which don't make any sense, and they can't pan out. J.J. McCarthy might be a good player. I just don't think he's worthy of being the 3rd overall pick. Drake May, on the other hand, although there is a lot to clean up, he does remind me of Justin Herbert. I do think there is some Josh Allen potential, and you have to draft based off upside. Even if Drake May doesn't pan out, I can live with that as a Patriots fan. If the Patriots take J.J. McCarthy at 3 and he underwhelms, I'm going to be so mad. So, New England is going to stay at 3, despite the offers that the Giants or the Vikings may throw at them. I think they take Drake May at 3. At 4, Arizona could also receive some calls with the Giants or the Broncos or the Vikings, but they got to get Kyler Murray a big-time weapon. When Kyler Murray had DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals were cooking. The Cardinals started the season, I think back in 2021, they started the season 8-0. D-Hop got injured, and that's when they started to go downhill a little bit. Kyler wasn't the same. Now they have a chance to draft the best receiver we've seen in years coming out of the draft in Marvin Harrison Jr., and that's what I think they'll do. With the 5th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers will trade this pick, and the Minnesota Vikings will now be on the clock. Kevin O'Connell knows he needs a quarterback. He needs a guy that can play on script. on time, make clutch throws, be that guy. And with the 5th pick, Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings select J.J. McCarthy, QB out of Michigan. They will give up the 11th pick this year. They will give up the 23rd pick in this year's draft. And I think they will give up a 2nd rounder to move up and select J.J. McCarthy. The Minnesota Vikings don't have a QB. Kirk Cousins left and got a bag from the Atlanta Falcons. Sam Darnold is not a quarterback in the NFL. In my eyes, he's always been the mono ghost, man. I mean, what is he known for? That dude, he struggled on Monday Night Football against the Patriots, didn't know what he was doing. I never understood the hype with Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy isn't a great prospect. Do I think he should be the 5th pick in the draft? No. Do I view him as a late 1st rounder? Yes. But I think the Vikings like him because they see a lot of Brock Purdy in this kid. He may not be a bus driver, but if you put pieces around him, can you win with him? Yes. And Minnesota, boy oh boy do they got pieces. They have Justin Jefferson, arguably the best receiver in the league. Jordan Addison, who's an incredible number 2. TJ Hawkinson, who they traded for a couple years ago. Along with Aaron Jones, who they signed in free agency. The Vikings will be just fine. I think they go McCarthy at 5. At 6, the Giants are now on the clock. I think the Giants absolutely want a QB. If they had the 3rd pick or even the 4th pick, it wouldn't even be a debate. I think May or McCarthy would be a Giant. But they have the 6th pick. They have to trade up and get a QB. And I don't know what the Giants can give that Minnesota can't offer. So with the 6th pick in the draft, the Giants take Malik Neighbors, receiver out of LSU. The only reason why they wouldn't take Neighbors is because of the comment he made regarding the Giants QB situation, saying that they have to figure it out. He ain't sold on Daniel Jones, and I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. But the Giants have to take a receiver. They haven't had a receiver lighted up since Odell Beckham back in 2018. They take the best player available. With the 7th pick in the draft, the Tennessee Titans take Joe Alt. Protection is important in the NFL. It's important to have in life. And with the 7th pick, they go out and get the best offensive lineman in this draft class. Will Levis is a guy they drafted to potentially be their franchise quarterback. They got Calvin Ridley this offseason with a bolstered offensive line. There should be no excuses for Will Levis. He's got to put something together. With the 8th pick, Atlanta finally selects the first defensive player in this draft. They go Dallas Turner at 8. And this is a reasonable selection because the Falcons have already addressed offense in each and every single draft over the last couple of years. They got Bijan Robinson. They got Drake London. They got Kyle Pitts. This offseason, they went out and broke the bank for Kirk Cousins. It's time to load up on that defense. They hired Raheem Morris, who's a defensive-minded guy. I think they take the best player available. With the 9th pick, this is interesting because Chicago, this is their actual pick. The first overall pick is because the Carolina Panthers stunk up the bed. Chicago Bears have a lot they could do with this pick. They could trade down, accumulate more picks. They could even trade up. If the Giants aren't all too fascinated with Malik Neighbors, they could make a move. I think they take Rome Odunze because Keenan Allen is entering a contract year. There's no guarantee that Keenan Allen will be in Chicago after this season. And can you imagine the offensive firepower that Caleb Williams would be working with? You got DJ Moore. You got Keenan Allen. You got Rome Odunze. Boy, oh boy, that Chicago offense is going to be explosive with this young man as a rookie. The expectations will be sky high. No number 1 overall draft pick has been in a situation like this. Will they take him? I'm not 100% sure. but I do think it's an interesting selection, and if he's the best player available, Chicago, you got to make a move. And with the 10th pick, the Jets round out my top 10 selection by taking Brock Bowers, tight end. Should they take him? No. They should address the offensive line. But I think the Jets are the type of team that like flash. They like, oh my gosh, let's get all these pieces and put a Super Bowl together. That's what they want to do. And folks, you can do that. Y'all ain't winning nothing. So take Brock Bowers at 10, and that's how I have these top 10 picks going. Now, for the rest of the draft. I could dive into each and every single team, but I don't want to do that. I want to focus on the bigger picture. I think Brandon Ayuk could potentially get traded tonight. And if he gets traded, I'm telling you, the San Francisco 49ers are taking a receiver at the end of the first round. I'm just letting you know, guys. They are taking a receiver. They got Debo, they got Kittle, but they got to bolster those weapons. If Brandon Ayuk is on the move, they got to make a move too. On top of that, the New England Patriots should absolutely be packaging the 34th pick to make a move for a big-time receiver. I don't care if it's A.J. Brown. I don't care if it's T. Higgins. I don't care if it's Ayuk. Go out and get your young franchise QB a weapon that he desperately needs. Demario Douglas is a nice player. Kendrick Bourne's a nice player. Hunter Henry's a nice player. But you got to get yourself a legit number one receiver. Another thing I want to address is the two QBs that could potentially get drafted in round one, but I think one of them gets drafted late in round one and the other doesn't. Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix. Bo Nix, in my eyes, isn't a day one QB prospect. I think he's a better version of Kenny Pickett. I didn't see special. I didn't see game changer. I saw a guy that might be able to start a couple games in the NFL, but he's not the answer. I think he goes in day two. Michael Penix, on the other hand, there's a tremendous amount of talent, but there's an injury history. And if you come into the NFL banged up, there's a good chance you leave the NFL banged up. I think he goes to the Raiders late in the first round because Las Vegas needs to address the QB position. Gardner Minshew isn't going to be the answer. Aiden O'Connell isn't going to be the answer. I think they take Michael Penix late in the first round. And that's kind of how I have the draft going. I think there's going to be an early run on QBs and receivers. I think this is an offensive-heavy draft, and I'm curious to see how it plays out tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you smash that thumbs up, and be sure to stay tuned for my next videos. Thanks, guys.